nobody else in the town. Aw.
Aya, dear one, thank you for coming.
Are you a lot shorter than I realized before?
Good, my queen. Soon you will be on your throne.
Is it really windy today?
Yes,
What's going on here?
I must ask you a favor, though. The tomb. I fear Lord Caesar should have the honor to bear witness to the author of our kingdom, Alexander the Great.
You want to impress your new lover, I see. The tomb is sealed, no?
It is, but by an act of Gaia, not a royal decree. An earthquake in the early days of my father's reign has blocked the door.
Aw,
Do you
man.
know our metropolis well enough to suggest an alternate means of entry?
The underground.
You would enter from below.
Well, I would find a way into the cisterns and canals below, work backwards, and find a way to clear a passage into the tomb.
That would solve our problem, but it seems idealistic.
Fortune favors those who ignore her. I'll examine the area around the tomb and figure this out.
So,
Excellent.
are we playing as Aya a little bit
Choice.
longer? Maybe? What we are! Okay, so not just in ship combat. Okay, interesting. What's your name? My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. But yeah, I go by Harmonia here. So I need some spicier way to reach here. Scusi, sorry, just took a little bit of a wrong path here. You know, it's funny how that happens sometimes. You know. So, reach the tomb entrance. And they were saying, you know, there's some other way to go. Oh, I can't call Senyu with her. She doesn't have bird powers. Man. Oh, crap. Because,
Did I tell you of the poet Catullus?
I don't believe so.
Oh.
Another cur who made brief mention of me in
Unless
his
I can...
verse.
Oh, there's stairs.
I do not
Wait.
over much to please and court you, Caesar, nor do I care much to know if you
Oh.
or you be white.
I'm dumb. Just a tad.
It is a dead end,
Oops.
my lady.
I will double check. Ensure it is.
Yeah. Let me check things out here.
Yes. These Romans really did try everything.
Yeah. You know when you try spears, that really is the last thing you try.
They got it right. This way is completely blocked. That earthquake must have altered the structure.
Okay. I can probably
Strange.
break that sneak through. It looks almost like it matches the shape of a...
Must be a way beneath. Around.
way beneath around. Ah! I can't just get through there. It did look like what I thought it looked like. They clearly didn't try all the spears, did they?
What's this?
Nothing. Just my secret hidey hole.
This is a tighter squeeze than the caves west of Siwa.
We were smaller in those days.
Okay, can I pull out a torch too? Whoops. I can! Sweet! Go, torch, go! We are secretly the same person here. What kind of things do I have here? That's a hunter bow, and this is a... Oh, that's a light one. I haven't used much of light ones. Okay. Summon more torches and stuff. Nah, that's another nerd there that has a name that's a reference to a Pokemon thing. Thought he was stopping in front of that because there was like something along the wall or something or other at first. Oh!
It must be through the sewers. No one had the courage to plunge into Hades' rivers.
Whee!
So I assume dive down, right? Whoa! There's the lighting bugging out again, as happens sometimes. Those things happen sometimes. Just normal, everyday Assassin's Creed game kind of stuff, you know? So... Wait, is this completely submerged here? Whoa, 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 wait here. Well, nice to meet you, Ashley. Whoa, there's the lighting bugging out again. Oh my goodness gracious. Welcome on into this wacky place where... I don't think I can go up through there. But the next one, I'll find where I can go up through. Is the case. Not there. No! Stop trying to go up! I guess because my camera's pointed up. Is the case. Epic name for an epic nerd. We're all epic nerds around here. Around these parts. Explore the tunnels. I'm so confused. I was just wondering what would happen if I hit that button. So can I do a light attack too? Yep, I sure can. Do call you Ash. Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town. Catch all the Pokemon. No you, Guzma. I'm confused. I can't just break these, can I? Die, bars. Explore the tunnels, huh? You caught them all? You did the thing? For real or for the sake of going with the meme here? Whoa. There was a time I caught them all. That was back in Generation 6. And I guess I expanded it to like Gen 7 and Gen 8, excluding like event legendaries. But then with Gen 9 and Scarlet and Violet, I was like, no. I'm done. Like, this is lit up over there as if it's something important. Wait, that's open. That's why this area is lit up to be important. Yeah, just for the sake, absolutely did not catch the ball. It's painful. Speaking from experience, I can say it's painful. To be fair, I don't know what it's like actually catching them all with like the current number of Pokemon, since I technically haven't expanded it to that, and I have no intentions to. But, at least, even in previous generations, it's painful. Got them all in Gen 8 before the DLC came out. Over 1,000 now. Yeah, it's crazy. And isn't number 1,000 like the cheese string looking guy? If I recall. Goldengo, I think his name is. Yeah, number 1,000 is the cheese string man. Of all the ones that could be 1,000. What a world we live in, huh? What if I didn't want a torch to be pulled out? You're just gonna force me into this? No!
Whatever you want, my love.
I want to climb on this now.
His sarcophagus is full of honey. Helps preserve the car.
Oh, unbelievable.
No, there's wackier things that people put a lot of time and effort into
These markings along the bottom,
across history.
they speak of Siwa, the vault, and a scepter that Alexander holds. A moon
Neat.
stands in a field of trees.
I love how it's an option in
Where a
this game.
sphere meets its scepter.
Like, I assumed that it would have been just like dropping the torch or putting it away in your pocket if you wanted to get rid of it. But the game just straight lets you chuck it. It's whoa. I love it.
He loves those things. We should let the others in.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm going to
Even
keep
funnier
it
is that the
for now.
Pokemon's a golden color and the string cheese man is a yellow color. Yeah, they literally matched it color-wise and design-wise. Like, it's like they straight up designed the Dudo after the cheese string guy for some reason. Screw this pot in particular. Oh, never mind. Yoink. 3 doubloons. Oh, man. Should be in every game. What? Cheese string man or throwing torches? Or both. Both amazing features. Welcome to my gamer crib.
Rex Immortalis.
The stuff he is holding. The markings. Ever since I was a boy, I've idolized this man.
He is similar to you.
I wept at the base of his statue in Rome. At 30, he was a god with an empire stretching across the known world. What have I done with my 5 long decades here on Earth? Eternally, do you faint?
Together we can do more than Alexander did.
How long before the Queen stops impressing Caesar and starts impressing us?
Our needs are hers as well. She will deliver.
My Caesar, our emissaries have been captured at the southern garrison of Alexandria. Soldiers have reported a hostile environment.
Captured. Is this Ptolemy's diplomacy?
I will send my guard. Greek soldiers will pass more freely through the city than Romans.
Let us settle this matter, my queen.
Flavius, come. Look. We have found the great king.
Okay, I just want to say, a pet peeve that I have in a lot of video games, not just this, is when the subtitles will list out, you know, a very long section that doesn't even get, you know, gone through for like a good while there. Like, Flavius, come, look, we have found a great king. There's gonna be 3 different things that appear in separate subtitles. Like, I like having subtitles on when I'm playing games, but I don't want the subtitles to, like, spoil me on the whole next 15 seconds, you know? That's a thing that I find with a lot of video games that I wish, you know, wasn't the case. Just split them into more separate subtitles. Like, come on. It's not a super big deal, but it's just one of those tiny little irksome things, you know? Okay. Well, time to rescue Caesar's emissaries. Time to do that. Can I call my haunts? Oh, I still can! Sweet. Just can't call my bird. It's all from here. No bird powers. Big sad. Now there's a whole bunch of people here. My computer seems to be dealing with this area pretty alrighty. Sometimes the area lags pretty badly, but today it seems like my computer is in a good mood, thankfully. It's a good day for it. Wait, haven't I infiltrated this fort before? Isn't that the one that gave me a whole bunch of trouble around the beginning of the game? If I recall. Look out! I believe, maybe. But yeah. What kind of computer do you have? It's a custom-built one. The specific stream specs, I don't know them off the top of my head, but they're in the description. The description? I'm using YouTube terms here. In the about thingamabob, somewhere in the thingamabob. I know that my CPU is an Intel i7-8700. My GPU is a 3070. Who hates me already? So, in terms of graphics, I'm able to, like, max things out here, no problemo. In terms of that. Like, my GPU does not care. I think that was just turned down because that played into, these things play into like CPU, but everything else, you know, my GPU is just having a field day out here is the case. But the CPU things, I'm running at 45 FPS rather than 60, and even then sometimes I get some weird hiccups. This stream has been pretty good. Sometimes I have some pretty bad streams where like a hiccup's pretty bad, and the i7-8700 is like a pretty like decent processor that came out after this game. This game came out in, what, like October, November-ish of 2017. I think my processor was the beginning of 2018, January 2018. So, you know, I was thinking about upgrading my processor for a little while, being like, okay, if this is indicative of, like, how the Assassin's Creed games on the channel are gonna go from this point, then I should probably upgrade it. So I downloaded Assassin's Creed Valhalla and tested it, and it ran just fine on my machine. So it's like, oh, it's just AC Origins that has sucky PC optimization. So I decided that I wasn't going to upgrade my my core. What the heck are you doing? And I was just going to suck it up, and if this game struggled on my computer, then it would struggle on my computer, and I was going to blame Ubisoft rather than my my PC specs. But ever since making that decision, the game has started, like, sucking on my PC significantly less. I don't know why. But there's that. Not that you know anything about PCs, but I find it interesting and respectful to ask a console player because your computer is a Mac because of work. That's understandable there. Like, I imagine that stuff like this, what is going on over there, would run a whole lot better on a console. And had I had the option here, had I had a console I could play it on. We do mostly Nintendo stuff on this channel and, like, PC for everything I want to play that isn't on Nintendo consoles. But if I did have, like, a modern, fancier, like, Xbox or PS, I'd totally play this on it instead. But I don't, and I'm not going to pick one up just for this. And now the game seems to run pretty alrighty.
They want to take the palace.
Oh no!
How many more heads must I chop off before Caesar understands?
This is futile. A change of plans.
So these are our 2 new
Lion
targets.
says we must march on the Pharos and trap the queen.
Then they said they left for...
Where? Where?
Okay, so that's the identity of the Scorpion. A yoink? Yeah, I did. That's a 3070. The 3070 doesn't care about this game. I can max out all my graphics settings and, you know, run the game looking like this, freaking beautiful, and my graphics card cares not. It's my CPU, my core, that cares a lot. Like, I have Task Manager open on that screen there, which, you know, since it's been a while since I've shown the thing about my crazy setup, monitor, TV, I'm consistently hitting 100% CPU up there, is the case. You know, my graphics card cares not, but my core cares a decent bit, you know. But again, it seems to be running pretty alrighty right now. Like, we had it set to 60 at the beginning of the stream, and we've run, like, full streams at 60 FPS before, but sometimes it struggled, and I struggled at the beginning of this stream. I can try applying it to, like, 60 and see how things go again. Ooh, look how smooth it is! Okay, so I need to return to the oh, I'm going the wrong way. What the heck am I doing? I will see if it runs A-okay. It was struggling a little bit at the beginning here. And when I was testing AC Valhalla, just to see if, like, you know, the troubles I was having with this game would be indicative of future games, I found out that if I uncapped the FPS and let it run at whatever, it would really, really struggle. But if I capped the FPS at, like, 60 at the highest, it'd be perfectly fine. If I capped it a little bit higher than 60, then it would start to have, like, a few problems. But, but I think 60 is, like, the max FPS you can stream at on Twitch anyway, so, you know, it's not like I would have any reason to go higher. I could improve my own frame rate, my own view a little bit better, but it would make no difference for what everyone else is seeing, so, like, what would be the point, you know? So, just for my own personal enjoyment. So, you know, it seems like that should be able to run just fine. I haven't tested Odyssey, to be fair. I don't know what that's like. I figured since Valhalla is the latest one that would be, like, the most fair test there, and that ran just fine. And then ever since doing that test and deciding, yeah, I'm sticking around with this core instead of upgrading it, it's been running so much better than at the beginning of this series. Beginning of this series, my computer hated this game, and it still sort of hates it sometimes, but, like, it's going, like, pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty well. But yeah, because it's the core that's struggling rather than the GPU, it doesn't make any difference, like, what graphic quality I put it into. Like, as we tested out around the beginning of this series, if I put it onto, like, the lowest possible graphics settings, it would still have, like, the same hiccups, it would still perform the same. It's just the game would look like crap. So why not run it on maxed out settings? You know, it doesn't make any difference to my CPU there. The only CPU affecting thingamabobs are, the frame rate and these two thingamabobs here, which, let's give it a go. I would show, like, the lowest graphic quality as an example here, but, you know, I would have to restart the game for that. I have an FPS counter in the top left that only I can see here. Yeah, this is not 60 here. This is around 45 to 55, which is almost full speed, but the game speed is tied to the frame rate, so it feels a little bit slow here now. So, those things go down. We're not doing that. Whoops. Yeah, just get out of here. So, those things are off, so not completely maxed, looking as beautiful as it can. But otherwise, whoa, as it gets its bearings here again. Oh, it's not hitting 60 here anymore. It's at like 51, 58, 53. And with the game speed tied to the frame rate, slightly slow. Oh no, what have I done here now? Why, computer? Going back to 45. I'll bump it up to like 60 again later when I'm not in one of the highest, like, one of the most CPU-intensive areas in the entire game, you know? But yeah, watching a 10-year-old macro cell phone isn't a good threshold to gauge. Yeah, on a screen like that might be a bit difficult to tell. But it looks good to you. That's good there. We're struggling with, like, some major stuttering issues for a lot of this playthrough that seems to be pretty much resolved now. The lighting seems a little bit stranger than it was earlier. I'm here at the palace. Extract the emissary. Oh. I don't want to talk about it. The graphics feel slightly off to me here. Did I tinker around with something and make it weird? Or am I losing my mind and it's looked the same as it always has? Me tinkering around with things break things? At least I can play here stably still. But yeah, let's see here. Remember it running super well when you played Tales of Arise way back when? Every scene was breathtaking. Yeah, Tales of Arise seems to be, like, way more optimized for PC than modern Ubisoft games here. Or at least this specific one. Like, AC Valhalla seemed to run pretty well on my computer, for example. But yeah, curious to see if it still runs good with Tales of Arise. Guess we'll know when we go back and do fishing with that game. It wouldn't change, you know. My computer has gotten nothing but better since then. If it has even upgraded. It's not like Tales of Rise was that long ago, you know. And yeah, they definitely can there. I need to take this guy out of here. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Up we go. Yeah, I needed to bring this guy out. Do I have all my arrows and stuff? Yoink. Well, there's the last few. Yeah, I kind of abandoned you, Mr. Dudo. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to abandon you. Try playing GoldenEye. Wow, you forgot the graphics were so bad. When the nostalgia makes up for it. The N64 GoldenEye. There. The classic. Yeah, a year and a half ago was a long time. I mean, depends on how we're classifying a long time here. So, like, the heck is going on? Why is my screen shaking? Okay, so this guy, they have it on Switch and Xbox now. So it's on Xbox as well. I knew that it was added to the Switch with Nintendo's expansion pass that I hate. I've rambled on the stream a few times, like even in the last couple days after the most recent Nintendo Direct, about how I really don't like having subscription services for classic games like that. Like, I want to be able to own them. Give me the option to buy them, and I'll buy them. I'm surprised that worked. I wasn't sure if it would, but I'm really glad it did. He's down here now, and I pick him up. So Game Pass on Xbone. Gotcha. So subscription service either way. I hear that apparently Game Pass is actually, like, really good value from what I hear. I wouldn't know myself, but from what people tell me. Whereas the Nintendo subscription service is, gosh dang it, just their classic games that are, like, twice the age of half their player base, you know, rather than anything new in the mix there. So it's like, really? Really? You're just gonna take all this content that, you know, you've already had around for a long time, so you don't need to make any new content. All this content you already have in your, you know, library. Just slap it on there and charge a monthly subscription price. I don't like it. Not a big fan there. I'm surprised they didn't showcase any Pokemon stuff because, yeah, that is most likely the case. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced... Look out, kid! I'm surprised I didn't run you over, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced Scarlet and Violet DLC. Yeah, that whole Pokemon Day thingamabob. That's coming up here. Do you have any special plans there? And mine's not too long after it. It's hard to believe that I'm going to be 24. Getting old, man. I feel like I should have so much more life stuff figured out by now than I do. Alright, I'm here! Okay, I did the thing.
You have loyal men, Caesar. Septimius plans on trapping you in the palace. You have no time.
As I foresaw, war. Levius, they want fire. Let us burn the whole damn harbor. And if we change the Pharos light, the rest of the fleet will know what to do. We will join them by chariot.
Salve, Lord Caesar. I will make the order.
My queen, you should accompany me into battle.
As these soldiers rip each other apart, I shall stay on my throne. I am queen until a sword plunges through my heart. And even then, my blood will stay on my throne.
Good then. I stay. My life is yours to do with as you will.
Now, the most crucial part of the plan. Put this into the brazier of the Pharos. She will accompany me through the city. Now, let havoc reign.
Aya, if you find my brother, Ginestoy.
I smell war.
Now we're getting a little bit of stutter here and there. With all the flame effects, I guess.
You are the only queen worthy of the throne.
Give me the powder. Caesar thinks a woman cannot do this job.
Having to blow things up?
Prove Caesar wrong, my love.
That's cool that there are, you know, dedicated segments with Aya to play in. I do like that.
Best not be seen here.
Alright. Reach the top of the Pharos. Will do there. Friends tried to convince you for years to get Game Pass, got it, and truly enjoyed it. turn it on and off as you see fit. Some tickets look fancy to play, but don't keep it on 100. That's understandable there. And yeah, it's an interesting date for that kind of thing there. But feel cursed after all the mixed controversy there. Yeah, the Pokemon controversy, nowadays I can say that I'm one of the, one of the people that is kind of known for that kind of thing, because the thing that people know, like, the thing that most people know my YouTube channel for is my Pokemon video essays, which have really gone crazy in the YouTube algorithm for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why myself, but it's what most people know me for as a content creator nowadays. And I've been working on my Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video essay, which has currently surpassed the 2-hour mark in terms of a video length. I'm not even halfway done. So it's causing me some major stress. I've been working on it for a few months already. But yeah, in terms of Pokemon's quality with the last several games, it's been a bit controversial, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is one of the really big notable examples of that, considering it was so buggy and unfinished when it launched that a lot of people were actually asking for refunds, and Nintendo, despite their usual refund policies, Nintendo issued out an official apology over the state of Scarlet and Violet and said, "We're really sorry we shipped it like this. We're gonna try our best to, like, improve it from here and fix it and stuff, and we're gonna offer refunds for anyone who wants it." So, you know, the state that Scarlet and Violet shipped in was, well, it certainly wasn't much to write home about, and it's, certainly given me, like, a field day of things to write about in my essay, let's say. So, there's that. Yeah, Nintendo typically doesn't. Nintendo is typically the type of company that will take the time to, like, really flesh out their games. Like the sequel to Breath of the Wild taking now, like, what, 6 or 7 years by the time it's coming out? Which is actually a concerningly long length, considering you'd think the sequel wouldn't take as long to make as the original title, since you can recycle, like, the world and the engine and stuff like that. So, hopefully it didn't have, like, development issues. Or things like Metroid Prime 4, where they're like, yeah, we're not happy with the direction this is going. We're gonna restart development from the beginning. That's typically the way Nintendo is. It's just, like, the Pokemon Company, which is, like, you know, owned by Nintendo, but also kind of like their own entity that has, like, a very different stance. And a lot of it comes down to Pokemon, at the end of the day, is the highest grossing media IP in the world. It's not anything like a Marvel or any of Disney's IPs or anything like that, or whatever other things you can think of would be, like, really massive IPs. Pokemon is the highest grossing media IP in the world, and most of that revenue comes from merchandise, actually. But Pokemon, a lot of people initially think of just the games, when it's a lot of things. It's the games, it's the merchandise, it's the trading cards, it's the anime, it's the movies, it's probably a bunch of other things that I don't know off the top of my head. So it is a massive revenue generator, and while the games are not the highest revenue generator for the IP, they are still the thing that, like, everything else centers around. So if you introduce a new game with, you know, new Pokemon, like a new generation, then that means new merchandise, new seasons of anime, new types of movies you can make, so on and so forth. So even though the games aren't the highest revenue generator, they still... Can I get up to... How the heck even then? I'm confused. There's still what everything else centers around. So because of that, they've maintained, like, a 3-year release schedule where every 3... No! Where every 3 years they need to release a new generation. So, you know, Pokemon Sword and Shield just came out a few years ago, and they're already, you know, pumping out the next generation of Scarlet and Violet on the same console. Even though, you know, it released in such an unfinished state that Nintendo had to apologize over it, you know, is the case. And if you check out something like Google reviews for Scarlet and Violet, it's a mess. It's mayhem. It's like a bazillion 5s and a bazillion 1s. And then just like a little trickle of 4 3s and 2s, you know. Or same kind of thing with Metacritic. It's either people saying it's like the worst thing ever or the best thing ever, you know. Being like, hey, Pokemon's finally open world, this is amazing, the performance issues aren't that bad. Or people that are like, wow, this really shipped out in an unfinished state, like, don't support this, you know? And yeah, it is a good business model, and, you know, Scarlet and Violet broke sales records. It is the most successful Nintendo launch ever, is the thing. I think it sold, like, 20 million units now, or something like that. How many units did it sell in 3 days? It was some ridiculous number in 3 days. It was like over 10 million copies within like the first 3 days after launch. So hey, the marketing for it worked out really well, was the case. I mean, I honestly don't think it's Game Freak. It's probably the Pokemon Company that rushed Game Freak to finish the game just so the Pokemon Company get merchandise out as well as finishing the anime around the same time too. They want the games to be published around the same time the anime is done, along with, you know, all the other aspects like TCG and merchandise and stuff like that, yeah. Like, I honestly feel kind of bad for, you know, those working at Game Freak, because I would imagine that they get, you know, really rushed. You know, when it comes to Pokemon, they released 3 games within the span of 1 year, with, you know, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl coming out late last year, Scarlet Violet coming out late this year, and Legends Arceus coming out last January. To be fair, one of those was from a different developer, with BDSP being outsourced to ILCA. But still, they released Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet in the same year, January and November of the exact same year, from the same studio, Game Freak, which, you know, has a decent amount of staff. I think it's like 160 staff, but that number pales in comparison to like other AAA studios, especially when they're pumping out 2 video games in the exact same year. I'm bad at video games, holy crap. Like, having, so that would be like, what, roughly 80 people per game, as they have like, what, a few year development cycle after Sword and Shield. What is going on here? What the heck was that? You know? So, like, I would imagine that, you know, things probably aren't all that great in, you know, the Game Freak studios, if I had to imagine there. Because, you know, a studio that refuses to expand, because I believe the official reason that Masuda gave several years ago was because he worries that, like, larger staff sizes can make it more difficult to communicate with one another. Like, it can be harder to express ideas. And while that's true, if you're the highest grossing media IP in the world, there's a certain level of obligation that goes onto your shoulders to, you know, maybe expand your staff size a bit more to what's, like, more industry norm by that point. I feel like, you know, as the case. But yeah, ain't that the regular these days? More than any other time in history, Cyberpunk was broken. Yeah, and a lot of people remember Cyberpunk as, like, an unfinished buggy mess that has a bad reputation. But it did still sell, like, incredibly well and made, like, CD Projekt Red, you know, some big bucks. It did also tank their stock price by half, like, very soon after, whereas Pokemon's stock price has gone, you know, pretty darn unchanged. But, you know, I'm sure that games like Cyberpunk and Scarlet and Violet are gonna go down in history as, you know, very buggy, unfinished games. But that doesn't mean that they aren't, you know, profitable. Because both of these cases have been very, very profitable, you know? I might just run, honestly. Anthem was a master's disappointment. Yeah, and it sucks because Anthem was being made, like, here, where I live, is the thing. So I remember, like, early on into Anthem's development, in some of my computing science classes, our professors would talk to us about Anthem and be like, hey, this is something being made here, so you can follow the development of it because it's a, you know, local game here. And then it came out in the state that it did, and it's like, oh, come on. When it comes to other games being developed here, there is also Nightingale from a different studio, so there's, you know, Anthem with BioWare, as, like, an established studio. Nobody really knows Improbable yet. I think they recently started calling themselves Inflection Games rather than Improbable. They're still a relatively new company. But, whoa, the game Nightingale is one being developed here right now. Maybe Nightingale will be good, at least, when it comes to local games here. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, once I'm done with my, you know, game design program at a university, places like BioWare / Improbable are places that I might potentially end up applying to. Maybe. Gosh dang it. Apparently there's a lot of indie studios here as well. I don't know a whole lot of them off the top of my head, but according to my profs, there's a lot of indie studios here. But yeah, let's see here. Or at least give Game Freak the chance to take their time with the game. Yeah, I'm sure that they probably could make something, like, really good if they were given the proper time to really flesh it out. Like pretty much any one of Nintendo's other games, you know? Almost anything else under Nintendo's belt, where they actually do take the time to really flesh it out. That Pokemon doesn't get the same privilege of, you know? Would be nice, but alas. Whoa. I'm gonna try my best to read in a chat here. Look at all the spin-offs that have been coming out. Some of them are better than the main series. The Pokemon spin-offs that have been coming out have been fantastic. Like new Pokemon Snap, Rescue Team DX, Pokken Tournament. All fantastic, you know? I really like those games. So the Pokemon spin-offs made by other studios that are also given the time to really work on these projects, those are good games. I like them, you know? I like them quite a bit. No! How about you don't, good sir? Yeah, because companies making spin-off games don't need to be pressured to rush the game. Yeah, under normal circumstances, they wouldn't need to be pressured to rush the game. I'm sure there are, like, some circumstances where one might need to be able to. Like, for example, take Fire Emblem, where it's like, Engage was coming out early this year, so 3 Hopes would have had to come out last year. Not to say that Three Hopes felt like a rushed game, but because it wasn't. But, you know, release schedule-wise, would have needed to do something like that. So I'm sure that there are instances where spin-offs might need to be rushed, but under normal circumstances, it's not, you know, as high on that priority list there. Probably make regular wage work massive overtime and then get basic to nothing to show for it, possibly. So excited about Anthem, my god, you were so disappointed. Yeah, it's such a wacky story, Anthem. Like, because if I recall off the top of my head, didn't they have like 7 years to make the game? And they spent like 5.5 in pre-production, if I remember, and then only started developing it in like the last 1.5 years, if I recall. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with some other video game, but I'm fairly certain that was the case. It's like... And then that trailer they showed at E3 wasn't actually an in-game trailer. It was just like a cutscene that they engineered specifically be like, this is what the game's going to look like, and then it didn't even. I'm glad that I was not somebody that, you know, was gonna be picking up Anthem, like, right as it came out there, because I would have been disappointed. Not even really an FPS kind of person, and GG kill. Good game, we took out Mr. Dudo. And yeah, Three Hopes came out last year, so, you know, in the hypothetical that Three Hopes wasn't ready yet, they might have needed to rush it to not get, like, 2 Fire Emblem games out in the same year. Unlike, you know, Pokemon that'll release 2 mainline games in the same year, no problemo. Light the Pharaohs. Let's do it. Yeah, imagine a world where, like, every game project was given, like, the proper time and resources it needed to be fleshed out, rather than, you know, some games where, you know, of course there's going to be, like, indie developers that, you know, aren't going to have, like, the resources and money to be able to invest into something. But in terms of, like, massive studios that have, like, millions and millions of dollars backing them, how nice would it be for them to actually, you know, apply that to make the best possible game that they can, instead of some instances where we see, like, you know, what I imagine is the cheapest possible game that they can make, you know, as is the, either cheapest in some cases, or, like, fastest, or aligns the most with, like, their ingrained release schedule, like is the case with Pokemon, where it's like they have to do every 3 years new generation, you know, and it hurts the quality when they're developing for home console rather than handheld. They're no longer recycling their game engines, and they're not making enhanced third versions. That, you know, not to say that those things were, you know, necessarily good things before, but it made it easier to get out consistent releases when they were developing for handheld, recycling their engines, and making enhanced third versions. It made it a lot easier to continue with regular releases. But now that none of those things are in the picture, now that they're developing on a home console, the Switch, they're making a completely different game each time, and they're not making enhanced third versions, and still trying to maintain the same release schedule without really expanding their team much at all. The quality takes a hit, and it's showing, you know, is the case, as I've delved into with video essays here a decent bit already, and as I continue to work on the Scarlet and Violet one that currently consumes my editing time nowadays. No Man's Sky was a massive disappointment, but they continue to add and rectify some of their sins. Yeah, No Man's Sky was a really cool redemption story, actually. Nose! No! Are we switching to Bayek to infiltrate now? Because Aya hasn't come back?
Ptolemy's men are breaking through our line. No! Wait till I see the signal. Can't believe you trusted a woman to do something of such importance.
Wow.
How are the fleet to receive their orders?
Patience, Caesar.
For times, huh? I mean, not to say that there isn't people like that nowadays.
Eyes cast. Come. We go to the battlefield. Reggie, cover the retreat.
We're gonna find out how Aya survives shortly, right?
All have found themselves dead by her blade.
Intriguing. Whoa! Oh my goodness, this is crazy. But yeah, anyway, No Man's Sky was a really cool redemption story. Wasn't it, like, rushed out by the publisher back in there? It was also marketed really poorly. Like, the director of that had a bad habit of promising things that would never be the case. You know, was a thing. But, you know, they were truly passionate about what they were making, and have since, you know, had, like, their redemption arc. And I've never played No Man's Sky myself, but I've heard that, you know, it's actually really good nowadays, and they've, you know, continued to put out so much free content and updates and trying to, like, win back their player base's trust, and it sounds like they have. Whereas a lot of studios, like, I'm certain that this will be the case with, you know, Pokemon. Just pump it out in whatever state that it, goes out in. Like, fix the major big things, but then, you know, leave it. not do anything significant from there. I'm sure will be the case. Because why spend years, like, fixing it and fleshing it out when you can spend years making the next game that you can sell? I'm sure that that's the perspective with a lot of developers, unfortunately. It's not something exclusive to that. So, you know, there's that. I mean, even games within this series here, like, a lot of Assassin's Creed games have suffered from being rushed out before, like Unity being a really big example of that. But, you know, when I went and replayed Unity on the channel here, I was like, what the heck? Am I even playing the same game I played back then? So thank goodness they took the time to... Do I shoot the elephant? Like, they took the time to fix it. Of course, there's still, like, regular Ubisoft jank. But it's actually playable nowadays, and I was like, whoa! You know? It's cool now. And I like it. But yeah, as stressful as it's been sometimes working on the same area dozens and dozens and dozens of times to make sure it's absolutely perfect. It's a pain in the butt. You still want it to be a good game. Yeah, that's understandable there. Well, I switched when I wasn't even looking because I was reading the chat here. But yeah. Still much better game years later in respect that, but don't think they will ever fulfill the promises they initially made. Yeah, that's what I've heard about No Man's Sky as well. Wait, do I have to, like, charge up here? Well, I'm confused here. But yeah, I love playing No Man's Sky. Such a good game. The aliens that game are extremely silly too. I believe it. Wasn't it night before? Were we going, like, all through the night there? My goodness. We gotta do something cool? Feel kind of bad for the elephant, but yeah, he did do something cool.
There will be songs of us, Bayek. Now,
Heck yeah, I love songs.
join the ships. We will be heroes, sword and mind.
Well, what happened to Aya? I'm sure she's okay, right? Probably.